the bearing re-grease. I don't know if I mentioned, but I would say 99% sure that you do have to take the skid out of the sled. I know I was wondering myself if I could do it with the skid in, and I just can't see it being able to be done because there'd be just so much pressure on those 3 bolts. And it seems to me as soon as you take those 3 bolts out, it's just gonna yank on the axle and it's gonna make it impossible. So you gotta take the pressure off the track. So really, to do this the way I'm doing it, which I think is the only way to really get at the bearing, is take the skid out. You don't have to take the track out, obviously. You don't have to take the whole jack shaft out. But this is kind of the same process as if you were gonna take the jack shaft out anyways. Sorry, the drive shaft, if you were gonna replace a track or, you know, replace a drive shaft, it's gonna be the same process. So anyways, I got everything back together here, and I just wanted to mention that once you start putting things back together in reverse order, the first thing I did is put the 3 bolts in from the back and tighten them all up, and that draws the bearing and the caliper, the whole bracket and the rotor, draws it all back onto the shaft. Tighten those up. And then, before I did anything, I noticed that there was no way I could get the circlip on. So what happens is the tunnels can flex a little bit on these. So what I did is I pumped the brakes a few times, which, you know, took the play out of the brake pads, and that kind of tightened up the rotor. The brake pads tightened up on the rotor. And then I just took a hammer and I just tapped on the rotor, and it actually went back in. I didn't really hit it, I just kind of tapped on it. And because the brake pads were taut, it kind of like went back to where it was. So the tunnel just kind of went back to where it was, and I didn't have to put a tie strap on it. I know some guys say if you can't get the circlip on, you have to put a strap on it, a ratchet strap, and you can kind of just, you know, maybe hook it to here, hook it to the other side, and just kind of pull that tunnel together a little bit so you can see your groove here and put your circlip back on. But anyways, I just tapped on it, went right back into place, and I was able to put my circlip on very easy, and make sure the circlip is seated in there, you know, make sure that's all good. Got everything kind of cleaned up. I did want to mention, I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, that I had to take my barn aparts. You can see the top sections there. I had to take the lower part of the belt, the belly pan protector, the barn aparts one. I had to take that out because it comes up right here, and I wouldn't have been able to move that. Sorry, I wouldn't have been able to move that because of the way it comes up here. So I just took the 2 bolts out here, and I had to take this bolt out anyways. And then the barn aparts belly pan protector just came right out. It actually came out before I had the clutch off, so you don't have to take the primary off if you don't want to. I know it's a bit of a bugger. Mine, after one season, sure was a bitch. Baby was on there, so I had to just lay into it with a big long breaker bar, and then she popped. And I took the whole stub shaft apart too, just to check everything in there. But everything looks okay. Everything's looking good. It was just a mess from those stupid 8JP belts, which are so dusty. So I'm going to run an Ultimax this year exclusively, hopefully with better clutching. And now that I'm down to 22 gear, 21 top gear, got rid of the 22 gear, hopefully, and I have the offset lowered to about 59 millimeters or so. Hopefully things will be better. All right.